In the previous class, we have seen how to install TestNG and how we can write test cases in TestNG. Also, we have seen how we can execute TestNG test case using XML file, like single test case and multiple test cases. And also, we have seen TestNG default report, how we can generate using XML file. So today we'll see some more type of annotations. So we have discussed about @test annotation. And apart from it, we have some more annotations. So we'll discuss what are other annotations are provided by TestNG and how we can use it and where we can use it and so on. So the next concept is annotations. So we already discussed about @test annotation. And this is an annotation must and should. So whichever method we need to make it as a test, we can specify that method as a test annotation. And along with the test annotation, we can also provide the priorities. Okay, based on the priority, the test methods will be executed. So when we can call as a method as a test method, when we specify test annotation, then only we can call that method is a test method. And whatever validations we do, we include all the validations only in the test methods. Only in the test methods, we can include the validations. Okay, so apart from this test annotation, we have few more annotations. So we will discuss one by one. So the next one, @before method and @after method, @before class, @after class, @before test, @after test, and @before suit, @after suit. So these are the few more annotations which we have in testing. So before method, after method. So before class and after class, before test and after test, before suit and after suit. Okay, now we'll see today what are these type of annotations and how we can use it and where we can use it. First, let us start with before method, after method annotations. Before method, after method. So let me take a small sample test here. So based on that, we'll try to understand where we can use before method and after method. So for example, I have different steps in my test case. So in my first step, I log into my application, but this is not actual validation I want to do. Just I want to log into application. This is a prerequisite. But once I log in, I want to verify something. Login itself is one test case. We can create, which includes the validations. But here, this login is just a normal prerequisite. So once I log into application, then I can do some more verifications. Let's say I want to verify a search functionality. Okay, and then after that, I want to log out from application. Once you done the testing of search functionality, then I want to again log out from application. And after logging out, again, one more time, I log into my application. And then again, I will do another test on advanced search functionality. And then again, I log out from application. See how I have framed all the steps. First, I have logged into my application. Let's say I want to perform searching test. This is the actual test we want to perform. And then I log out from application. And one more time, I log into application. Then again, I do another test, advanced search. And finally, I log out from application. If you have steps like this, okay, so some steps are repeated and there are some prerequisites. Suppose what are the main tests we want to do in this is two tests. You can create a login logout test separately, but here, according to this particular test case, login is a prerequisite for search testing. Similarly, here also logout is a exit. So once your testing is completed on search functionality, then I have to log out from application. So this is the entry point, this is the exit point. Similarly, to perform advanced search, login is an entry point, again logout is an exit point. So if you look at these particular steps, login is repeating multiple times. Even logout is also repeating multiple times. And when it is repeating, that we need to identify. So first of all, we will identify what are the actual tests we are going to conduct in these steps. So search is a main actual test. Advanced search is another main test. So first of all, we will define these two methods as @test annotation. this one and this one, because these are the main tests which we are going to do. And rest of the steps are what? Prerequisite, entry and exit criteria. So what we can do is, we will identify when this login is repeating. So login is repeating before every test method. If you look at these tests, search is an actual test. So before that, login we have to execute. Advanced search is a main test. So before that, login should be executed. That means login we want to execute multiple times before every test is started. So we need to repeat the login multiple times before starting every test method in the class. That is a login. So in that particular case, we no need to write a login multiple times. So according to the test case, we have to implement the login methods 2 times actually. But we no need to write multiple times. We can just write only one time that you can repeat multiple times. When I want to repeat this before executing the every test method, I want to execute this login. So according to the test case, you need to know that. So you have to read the test case thoroughly, and how exactly you have created your test case. Accordingly, you have to decide. So this is not mandatory. Every test case should be like this. No. So according to the test case, you need to figure out. Okay, so which one is actual test we have, where exactly the validation is included. Accordingly, you need to decide. So here, according to these steps, I want to do validation in the search and advanced search. But again, login and logout, you can create another test methods in a separate class. But according to this particular test case, login is just a prerequisite. I'm not going to do any validation on the login. Similarly, logout is an exit criteria, but I don't want to do any validation on the logout. I just want to do validation only on the search and advanced search. If your test case is like this, then you can identify the main test. You can specify with the test annotations, and login is repeating multiple times before every test method. So I can specify this as before method annotation. Before method. So why it is a before method? Because this I want to execute multiple times before every test method. Before search and before advanced search. Similarly, if you have another test, before every test method, I want to execute this login. So before that, what we need to do? We need to identify the actual test methods. We specify them as @test annotation, and then we will identify which method should be executed before every test method. So that we can specify as a before method annotation. Similarly, logout I want to execute multiple times after completion of every test method. See, after such method completed, logout I should execute once. And after advanced search is completed, then I want to execute logout one more time. That means logout I want to execute multiple times after completion of every test method. So can create logout method only once, and that you can specify after method, before method, after method. So when you specify this annotation, what is an advantage is we no need to write multiple times. So you can see login here, hey, 2 times are repeated, but we can write only one time and specify before method annotation. So that will automatically repeat multiple times, depends upon the number of test methods which we have in your test. Similarly, advanced logout also will execute multiple times after completion of every test method in the class. So this is the functionality of the before method, after method. So before test, after, these are all having different context. So we should not compare one annotation with another annotation. So I'm just going to step by step. You will understand. Once I completed all types of annotations, then you will understand the differences when we use it, where we will use it. Okay. So I've just discussed about only before method, after method. Just stick to that. I've still not discussed about before test, after test, right? Hold on for some time. Right. So this is my test case 1. So let us try to implement this. We'll see how it is going to execute multiple times before every test method, and logout will execute multiple times after every test method. Suppose you have a 10 test methods. So login will execute 10 times. Logout will also will execute 10 times. Depends upon how many test methods you created in the same class. Based on that, it will decide how many times it will repeat. Okay. So let's see practically how it is going to work. Say new package. 43. So inside this, let's say new class, annotations demo 1, and we should not take any main method because we are going to create a TestNG classes. Okay, now this is my class. All right. So inside this class, I'm going to create a few methods. So as I said before, we are going to create steps like this: login, search, logout, and advances. Let's create a normal method first. So void login, and internally, I'm not writing any WebDriver code. In next few sessions, we will try to understand all the TestNG features, and then finally we will integrate the WebDriver script. And for now, I'm just going with the normal statements: system.out.println, and this is so login. And I'll create another method void search, and here this is search. And I'll create one more method void, and we need to do logout, right? So yeah, login and logout we will write only one time. So this is advanced search, and in this write advanced search, and then I'll say logout void so this is logout. Okay, now I have created all the methods related to all the steps, but login I created only once. Logout also I created only once. I have not repeated multiple times. So first of all, we will specify main test. This is the test annotation. Search is main test. So here I'll put test annotation. And advanced search is also main test. So I'll specify this test annotation. Now I want to execute this login before every test method started. So I can define this with before method. Before method. And this before method also we need to import from org testng.annotations. And logout I will specify after method. After method. So this also we need to import from org testng annotations. Okay, so now we created all the methods, but login I created only once. Even logout also created only once. Specify that as a before method, after method. So what I said is before method will execute multiple times before every test method is started. So how many test methods we have in this class? 2 test methods are there. So login will execute 2 times. Logout will execute also 2 times after completion of each and every test cases. Okay, now once executed and see the execution order. So annotations will control the execution. So once you specify the annotations, you can create these methods whichever order you want. So order is not important. In the last class also we have seen. In which order you have created these methods are not important. But annotations will execute those methods in the proper order. So for the test method, if you want to give priority, you can give it. So I can say priority equal to 1. And for test methods, I'm giving the priority equal to 2. Okay, and I can put this logout here also, no problem. You can put these methods in whichever order you want. But finally, we will get the execution will happen based upon the annotation. Now, I have just executed. Now, see this execution first. These are the 4 methods I have created, 4. Totally how many methods? 2 test methods, login and logout. Only 4 methods I created. Now you can see how many times it is executed. So this is a search. So this is the main test. And before that, login is executed. After that, logout is executed. So this is one set is completed. Now again, one more time, login, then advanced search and logout. You can see login is executed 2 times before every test method started. Logout executed 2 times after completion of every test method. And if you see the tree structure, in this, you can see only test methods. Here you can see only test methods. You cannot see the other annotated methods in the tree structure. Look at this. So in the console window, also you can see only 2 test methods got passed. Only whatever test methods we created, the results will appear only for those methods. Why? Any guess? Why only it is giving test methods output? It is saying only passed, only test methods. Other methods it won't provide. Why? Because validations we will include only in the test methods. Okay, so TestNG will consider only test methods are the actual tests. So other methods are not actually test methods. We are not going to include any validations in another type of methods. Only in the test methods, we will include validations. So TestNG will consider only those methods as actual test methods. So that is the reason the results also will be populated in the console window in the tree structure. Only test methods, search and advanced search methods are displayed. But we have created some output statement, print statements, right? So that is the reason the print statements are got printed here. Okay, they just printed here. Okay, so in the results, only the test methods will be participated in the results. But execution wise, all the test methods will be executed according to the annotation. Okay, so remember this. Here, this login and logout is not actual test. We are considering them as an entry and exit. That's it. We are not actually considered as a test. But if you want to consider as a test, you can create another test login method. We can put that as a @test annotation. That's a different test and which includes the validation, whether login is successful or not. But here, as per the test case, login is just an entry to verify search and advanced search. Similarly, logout is just an exit after completion of search and advanced search test cases. That is the reason we don't put any validation here on the login and logout. Okay. So this is how we can use before method and after method. So before method will execute multiple times before executing every test method in the class. Similarly, after method will execute multiple times after completion of every test method in the class. Is it clear to everyone? Please confirm in the chat box. Before method and after method. So without test annotation, there is no validation. So all the validations we should put only in the test methods. So here we have created only 2 test methods. So in this test methods only, we will put all the validations only. Okay. Because only the test methods will participate in the results. But execution, every method will execute. But only results we will get only for test methods. Because ultimately we will see only test methods are passed or failed. This is an execution part. Okay. Before method, after method. Now we'll go to another level. First, we will discuss individually. Okay, before method, after method, we discuss. Similarly, before class, after class. Then I'll show you before test, another test, and before suit, after suit. Once we discussed and understood each and everything, then I will combine all of them into one test. One class we will create, and then I will combine all of them. Then we will see the execution order, how exactly they will execute. So finally, I will show you the hierarchy of execution. Okay. But normally we don't use all annotations in one test or one class. Depends upon the scenario, depends upon the test cases. By considering multiple factors, we will try to use specific type of annotations. But we don't put everything in one test. There is no necessity like that. Okay. So next one, we'll see before class and after class. Before class and after class. When we can use this before class and after class. Now, I'll try to change the same test case in the different manner. Let's say this is my another test. I remove these annotations. Okay, now I have a test case like first I want to log into my application and then I will do search test and immediately I don't want to log out and I immediately do advanced search. Only 4 steps. First I will log into application and this is also prerequisite entry and I will do searching test and then I will do advanced search. So both the tests I will do one after another. And finally, once my testing is completed, then I will exit from the application. I'll log out from application only one time. So if you look at these particular steps, according to this test case, search and advanced search are the main test that I want to perform. So I can put them as a test annotation. And advanced search is also main test. So this is I put as a test annotation. Now, if you want to do these two tests, what is a prerequisite? Login is a prerequisite. So first of all, I have to log into my application, that too only one time. Then I can do these two tests. After completion of both the tests, then I will come out from application. So I want to execute my logout. So here login is only one entry, logout is only one exit. So before execution of all the tests, I want to execute login only once. After execution of all the tests, I want to execute login only once. So login is only once we will execute. Logout also will execute only once. But when they will execute? Before starting all the tests, login should execute. After completion of all the tests, logout should execute. That's our requirement. Now, where you will specify these two tests? In the class, right? You will create a one class, TestNG class. In the class, all the test methods will be defined. So if you put this login as before class, okay, before class, and I'll put logout as a after class. Logout as a after class. Then what happens is login will execute only once before starting all the tests, because all the tests will be part of the class only, right? That means before class means this login method will execute only once before class in the sense before starting all the test methods. And logout will execute only once after completion of all the tests. That means after completion of the class execution. So before starting the class, after completion the class. Before starting the class means what? Before starting all the test methods. After completion of class means what? After completion of all the test methods, because the class contains the test methods. Okay. So according to this particular test case, I want to execute login only once before starting all the tests. I want to execute logout only once after completion of all the test methods. That means the login I can specify with before class and logout I can specify after class. There is no repetition here. Only once it will execute before class and after class. That's it. In between, if you have n number of methods, test methods, all the test methods will execute. But you can have 10 test methods, but still login will execute only once. Logout will execute only once. So this is a criteria. Now let us see practically. I will try to change the same stuff. So let's copy this. I create another copy. And this time I will try to change this. Okay, same method, same step, just I want to change the annotation. So login, I'll make it as a after test. This is after class, sorry, before class. Okay, and this is after class. So rest of the methods are same. Search and advanced search is exactly same. Now before class, we'll import from org TestNG annotations. And after class also we have to import. And if you don't have unwanted annotations, you can just remove them. Okay, or if you say organize imports, it will remove unnecessary or unused imports. So now we have only 3 annotations. So login I defined as a before class, logout I defined as after class, and rest of them are 2 test methods. Now execute. Now see the console output first. So these are the 4 methods got executed. See, login executed only once, then advanced search and search, and then logout executed only once. And if you see the result, it is only test methods are participated. So even before class, after class, other than the test method, if you have any other methods which are associated with any other type of annotations, they won't be participate in the results, but they will execute, but they don't participate in the results. So if you look at this, same thing has happened. Login executed, and 2 test methods are executed and then logout executed, but results will shown only for advanced search and search. Even if you see this result here, search and advanced search. So this is before class and after class. Means what? The before class method will execute only once before starting all the test methods, and after class method will execute only once after completion of all the test methods. So this is the functionality of before class and after class. Clear, everyone? Please confirm in the chat box. So understood the difference between before method, after method, and before class and after class? Okay. And one more important thing is, suppose when I use before class annotation in the test, so there is no necessity of using after class, not mandatory. So if you have a step like this, suppose after completion of the search and advanced search, if you have any exit criteria, then I can put logout here. After class, I can specify. Or else you can specify only before class is enough. After class is not mandatory. But if you have a step that you have to execute after all the test method, then you have to specify after class. Otherwise, in the same class, you can use only before class alone. Similarly, in the here also, before test, after test also. Suppose I don't want any test method, I don't want any method which I don't want to execute multiple times after every test method. So then I can use only before method. So there is no rule like if I use before method, you must use after method. Like if I use before class, I must use after class. There is no rule like this. You can use only individually. Depends on the test case, you need to decide. Okay. So this is before method, after method, before class and after class. Now let us discuss about before test and after test, before suit and after suit. So first two types of annotations, these annotations we can use a class level. In one single class is enough. But if we want to go next level, before test, after set, and before suit, after suit, at least we need to have 2 to 3 test cases. At least we need to have 2 test cases. That means 2 classes which we need to have. Because according to the XML, we have to use it. We need an XML file. And then we can use before test, after test, before suit, and after suit. So before showing the functionality, let us try to understand XML file one more time. So we understood what is a method, what is a class, but what is a test and what is a suit, that we need to understand. So if I ask you what is a test, so normally in the test cases, we specify the test methods, right? There are independent test cases. They are tests actually within the class. But as per the XML file, the definition of test is different. As per the class, what is a test? Whichever method we specify the test annotation, that is a test. That is fine. But according to the XML file, the definition of test is totally different. So according to the XML file, what is a test means? It is a collection of classes. Collection of classes is called one test according to XML file. So we will try to understand the hierarchy once. When to use before class, when to use before test, when we understood the class and methods, but we need to understand what is a test and what is a suit. Then we will see where you can use and how can use before test, after test, before suit, and after suit. So now let us go to an XML file. Let me create a small XML file here. So XML file will create from the suit tag, some name, my suit. So what is a suit contains? A suit contains a test tag. Test is also having some attribute, let's say my test. And what's the test contains? A test contains a classes tag. Inside the classes, we will create a actual class. Let's say class name equal to some XYZ and closing class. And I have another class, let's say class name equal to some ABC and closing the class. After that, we will close the classes tag. And after that, we will close the test tag. And after that, we will close the suit tag. So this is actual XML structure, right? Now, if I look at this XML structure, so there are different levels are there. So again, inside the classes, we can also have a methods. Inside the classes, we can also have a methods. So this is the main hierarchy. Now, before test and after test. So first level is before method, after method. This is the class level. Next level is high test level. So where exactly the test we will be considered? Suppose in this XML file, if you look at this XML file, how many tests we have included in this XML file? How many tests we have included in this XML? Can you imagine how many tests we have included in this XML? Only one. Okay, because classes level, we will consider this is one test, this is another test, but we put everything in one test tag. So this is actually one test. Okay, this suite contains only one test. So if you copy this another copy like this, I put another copy. Okay, and here this is my test one and this is my test two. And in the first test, I include XYJ. And the second test, I'll include only ABC. Now you tell me how many tests we have in this XML. How many tests we have? Two tests. This is one test and this is another test. In the first test, I have included one class. You can also include multiple classes. Even in the test two also, I have included one class. You can also include multiple classes. Okay. Now, if you run this XML file, this class will be executed. This class also will be executed. So two classes will be executed, right? And this first class is part of the test one. Second class is a part of the test two. So now I have two independent tests. Now come to before test and after test. Suppose in XYZ class or in ABC class, in one of the class, I have created a method which is defined with before test and another method is defined with after test. So you can create those methods either in XYZ class or ABC class, wherever you want. One method I define with the before test, another method is defined with after test. Now, when the methods will execute, when those methods will execute. So before test method will execute, before every test is started, after test method will execute, after completion of every test. XML level. Okay, we need to understand from the XML point of view. So as per the XML, I have a two test. So before test method will execute only once. Before test method will execute before every test method started. After test method will execute after completion of every test. That will also execute multiple times, but before every test methods will execute, and after test method will execute multiple times after completion of every test method. Okay, but when we will create those methods, where we will create those methods? Before test and after test, where we will create? In XYZ class or ABC class? Can you guess where we can create those two methods, before test and after test? You can create in any class, either in XYZ or in ABC, wherever you want, you can create. So those methods will execute according to the annotation. So let me show you this. So for that reason, so I need to have two classes. So I will create two different classes. So for that, I'm creating a separate package. In the same day 43, I will create another pack. There's a pack, day43.pack. And inside this, I'm going to create a multiple classes. So observe very carefully, a little bit confusing, but you need to focus a lot. I'll clarify questions later. First of all, listen and focus. So I'm creating a new class, just observe. I'll name it as a C1. So in the C1 class, I will create two methods. You can see I created ABC is a normal test method, and another method called before test method I created here. Before test method I created. So this I already imported. So one is a normal test method, another one is a before test method. In the same package, I will create another class called C2. And in the C2, I will create one test method and one after test method. So XYZ is a test method and AT is an after test method. Now, look at these two classes first. So this is my C1 and this is my C2. Both are there in the same package. Okay, fine. So C1 is having their own test method called ABC. C2 is also having their own test method called XYZ. Now in the C1, we have additional method BT, which is actually before test. So this is a before test method. And AT, after test method, I created in the another class. If you want, you can create both the methods in one class. Suppose I can put this here, no problem. or I can put both in another test, another class, no problem. Or you can divide them into two different classes, no problem. Because at the runtime, annotations based upon annotation, it will decide when to execute that method. Okay. So now I have two classes, C1 and C2. In the C1, I created one test method along with the before test. And the C2, I created one more test method along with the after test. So now I have these two classes. Now how we can execute multiple classes together? How we can execute multiple classes together? We should execute them through XML file. XML file. If you want to execute multiple classes, we need XML file, right? So let's create an XML file in the same pack, C1 and C2. The XML should contain C1 and C2. Let's create our own XML file. First, we'll create XML file automatically. How to create an XML file for these two classes? Select the package, right click, and here you can see one option called TestNG. Here you can say convert to TestNG. So where you want to create this XML file, you just select the path. You can click on the browse, Selenium project, src, test, Java, and my package name is day43. Inside the day43 pack, select, and then say finish. Okay, now if you look at that XML file which is got created, so this is my XML file, and you can see this is my suite. So this is my suite XML, and there is only one test as of now. You can look at this. I have only one test, and which contains a C1 and C2. Okay. Now just observe, I'm running the test, and before test, after test annotations, we already kept in these two classes. Okay. I have only one test as of now. If you have a one test, just observe the behavior. You can just run as a test in this suite. Yeah. Now if you look at the console window, so before test method is executed only once. Before starting, these two. Actually, these two are included in one test actually. See, C1 and C2 are included only in one test. So C1, C2 collectively, we can consider as one test. So before starting the test, before test is got executed. After completing the test, after test method is got executed. This is our expected. Now I will divide these classes in two different tests. So I'll keep another test entry. Okay. Now, whenever you create a multiple test entries, the name should be different. Okay. I can consider this is my test one and this is my test two. Okay. Now here I can keep only C1. I remove the C2. And here I'll keep C2. I remove C1. Now how many tests we have? Two tests. Now how many times before test method will execute? Two times will execute. Before first test, before second test. Similarly, after test method will execute two times. After completion of the test one, after completion of the test two. Now observe the result. I'm running as a test engine suite. Yes, I've not saved it. Test one and test two, C1 and C2. Okay, let me run it. So it is still executed before test method only once, after test method also only once. If we go back to the results. So here it will show you only C1 and C2. So let me remove these threads. I think this will execute only once. Just a moment. Okay. So it is executed only once. So this is my first test and this is my second test. So before test method and after test method. So this before test, after, sorry guys, I done some mistake actually. Just a second. Go to C1. This is a before test. Go to C2. So this is a after test. Okay. Let me save XML file. Then execute. Okay, so they have executed only once. So before test method is executed only once before starting all the test. So after test method also will executed only once after completion of all the tests. So it is not executed multiple times, guys. Remember this. This will not executed multiple times, only once. But before starting all the test, after completion of all the test. Now, if you see the difference between before class and after class, do you see any difference between these two? Do you see any difference? Before class and after class is a class level, single class. Whereas before test and after test is a multiple classes. Because in the first test, we can include multiple classes. In the second test, I can include multiple classes. So just observe, I put this C2 also in the test 1. And also I'll put C1 in the test 2. So now test 1 and test 2 contains the same test cases. Okay, but now just observe how many times the before test, after test method will execute. Still one time. If I look at the output, see this is the before test method and after test method. You can see now, this time it is executed multiple times. Why? Because this time we have included multiple classes. See this, this is one execution from the test 1. And so this is another execution from the test 2. So this is one round of execution. This is another round of execution. So if you put only one single class in the test 1 and test 2, so before test method, after test method will execute only once. Okay, before starting all the test, after completion of all the test. But if you have a multiple classes or multiple classes you specified in the test. So if I look at here, before test method is executed 2 times and after test method is executed 2 times. This is the behavior. So if you have a one test, then one test in each, one class in each test, then before test method will, after test method will execute only once. Suppose if you have a multiple classes in each test, then before test and after test method will execute multiple times. So this is a behavior. Now, if you look at this, before starting the test, before test executed, after completion of the test, after test is executed. This is one round of execution. Now again, before starting the test 2, before test is executed, after completion of the test 2, after test method is got executed. So this is how the before test and after test is got executed. So first level is a method. The next level is a class. Above the class is a test. So these are the 3 levels. So test contains a class contains a method, right? According to the XML. Similarly, execution also will happen like this. So method is a lower level, next level is a class, next level is a test. So what is the next level, high level? Above the test, suit. Suit is a high level, the last level. Suppose what I want to do is before executing these 2 tests, that means before starting the suit and after completion of the suit, I want to execute few more methods. Then I can specify in any class. Now let me create another class. Let's say I'm creating new class and I call it as a C3. And in the C3 class, I'll create a few more methods. In the C3, I'll create one test method. And this is after suit. And also I will put before suit. You can put these methods in wherever you want, no problem. So I can put here, this is a before suit. This is after suit. This is a before suit. Call it as a BS. So order is not important. So you can write in whichever order you want and you can write in whichever class you want. I put like this. Okay. Now, if I look at this is my C1 and this is my C2 and this is my C3. 3 classes I have. In the C1, I have one test method. C2 also have one test method. C3 also have a one test method called PQR. Now before test, after test, I have divided in two different classes. Okay, and then C3, I put both before suit, after suit, I kept in C3 itself. Okay, so now, yes, you can have a multiple suits also. Okay, now let me close all of them. Now go to XML file. Now currently I have a one suit. Now what is my requirement is before starting the suit, after completion of the suit, I want to execute few methods. So I already created those methods in the C1 and C3. So in the suit, I have multiple test cases. Now observe, this is my suit. I no need to change anything, but I will also add C3. So here I will add C3. And also here I will add C3. Okay, now I have a two tests, test one and test two. Test one contains a C1, C3, C2, C3 I want to execute it. And again, I want to execute C1, C2, C3 as part of a test two. These two are the part of the one single suit. Okay. Now we'll see the suit level execution and test level execution also. Execute. Yes. Now look at the console window and this we need to understand very clearly. Just a second. Yes. So look at this, how exactly it is executed. See, this is a suit level. After suit, see, after suit. Okay, I think I have not changed that name. 1 second. Let me change. So let's go to C1. So this is before test. Okay, this is also C1 before test. C2 after test. So this is before suit. Okay, this is after suit. Okay, now go to the XML file. So, okay, let's have it one single class. Okay, C1, C2, C3, C1, C2, C3. Okay, fine, perfectly fine. So C3, what is the problem in this? Yeah, so this message is wrong actually. This is before suit. Okay, so this is before suit. All right. So let's go back and execute XML file one more time. Okay, now let's try to understand this. So before suit and after suit executed only once. So this is very high level execution. So before starting XML, after completion of the XML. Now before test, after test. Before test, after test, two times executed, one time and second time. Why? Because I have a two tests in my XML file. Okay. Now in the first test, we have a three classes, C1, C2, and C3. So C1, C2, C3 are executed. And again, same C1, C2, C3 are the part of the test two. So here also C1, C2, C3 are got executed. So this is a hierarchy. Means suit contains a test, test contains a classes. Okay, inside the classes, methods are created. So these methods are got executed. So this is hierarchy. So before method, after method will execute at the method level. Before class, after class will execute at the class level. Before test, after test will execute at the test level. Before suit, after suit will execute at the suit level. So this is the hierarchy. So now we will combine all annotations in one class. Only one single class I will take. I'll put before suit, after suit, before test, after test, before class, after class, before method, after method, and we will run through XML file. Then we will see the exact order of execution. So let me close this. Okay, now I will create one single class which contains all types of annotations. I'll name it as all annotations and finish it. So in this, I will put all types of annotated methods one after another. Okay. Just import all these packages. So instead of importing each individual package, simply you can put star because all annotations are part of annotations package. So when you put star, one single import is enough, which is applicable for all the annotations. Okay, now just observe one single class I created. This is before suit, after suit. And this is before test and after test. This is before class and after class. And this is before method and after method. And I have two test methods, T1, TM1, TM2. These are the two test methods. And all methods, all the levels I specified. Now, once you execute it, we'll see in which level it will execute. So we will create an XML file to execute this, because the test level and then suit level, if you want to see those effects, we need to run through only XML file. Okay, so you can also run this directly. If I just run as this, you can see before suit, after suit also will execute, because this is all considered as one suit by default. So that's the reason we got an output here. And if you want to run through XML file, you can also run through XML file. So for this, I'm creating a new XML file, or automatically you can create. You can just say TestNG, convert to TestNG. And I want to create this under test Java day 43. Okay. So this is the XML file which is got created. Only one suit, one test, one class which contains a class. Okay, let me execute. Run as TestNG. Okay. Now you can see in the results, only test methods are participated. Only two methods. Even in the console also, only two test methods are got participated. Now execution. So we'll see the hierarchy, how exactly they have executed. If I look at this, first one, suit is a high level. So before suit, after suit. And before test method. So this is a before test. And here it is after test. Before test, after test. And then before class, after class. Okay, where is a before class, after class? This is a before class. Where is an after class? Here it is. And before method, after. You can see before method, after method is executed for every test method. So this is one round. This is one round. Because before method will execute multiple times before every test method. So after method will execute multiple times after every test method. So before method, after method, before method, after method. Above this, we have a class. So before class, after class. Above this, test, before test, after test. Above this, suit, before test, after suit. So this is a hierarchy. So first is a suit, then test, then class, then is a method. So before method, after method will execute here. And class contains multiple methods. So before class, after class. And here before test, after test. This is before suit, after suit. So this is the hierarchy of executing all the annotations. So ultimately what we need to understand from this is annotations will control the order of execution, and control annotations will decide when to execute those methods. And other than test annotation, rest of the annotations will be participate only in the execution, but they will not be participate in the results. Okay. So according to your test case, according to your requirement, whichever annotations are suitable, you need to use the type of annotations. So we don't use all annotations in one single shot or one single test. According to your test cases, you can create different type of annotations. Normally, when you create your test cases, you will have a main suit. Let's say you have a sanity test suit, sanity suit. In this, you can have only sanity test cases. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. And in each and every test case, there are different methods, test methods are there. So this is all one group actually, right? So before suit, after suit, you can keep here. And sanity, if I consider as a class, so before class, after class, or before test, after test, you can put here. And for every method, before method, after method, you can put inside the class. So first you need to thoroughly understand the test case. Then only you will know exactly what type of annotations we can use in your test. So that's the most important. So understanding the test case, understanding the steps is most important before using annotations concept. Okay, so this is all about TestNG annotations hierarchy. And if you look at the picture, if I just type Google TestNG annotations and go to any image, you will see the hierarchy like this. So test is a bottom level. Then before method, after method will execute. Then test method, this is a test method. Okay, so before test method, before method will execute. After completion of test method, after method will execute. So above this, before class and after class. Above this, before test and after test. Above this, before suit and after suit. Okay, so this is the hierarchy of the annotations. Clear, everyone so far? So I put all annotations in one single class. That is this example. So before suit, after suit, before test, after test, before class, after class, before method, after method, and two test methods. And then I have shown you how exactly they have executed, in which order they have executed. So if you run through XML file or normal XML, normal class, see before suit executed first and after suit executed in the last. Because here we only have a before suit, there is no after suit because we haven't run through XML file. So we should execute through XML file, run as TestNG suit. So now you can see before suit, after suit. Inside this before test, after test. And inside this before class and after class. Before method, after method, before method, after method. Because we have two test methods. So before method, after method will execute two times because we have a two test methods. And we have only one suit. So before suit, after suit. We have only one test. So before test and after test. We have only one class. So before class method and after class method. Okay, this is a hierarchy. Same, whatever I have shown you in the picture, same thing you can see. So you can see this one. You can see this is the same hierarchy we followed. So first test, then before method, after method, before class, after class, before test, after test, before suit and after suit. So this here also it is following the same hierarchy. First level is a method. So this is a method. Where is the actual test method? This is the test method 1. This is the test method 2. Now observe before and after, before test, after test, before method, after method. Again here before method, after method. Above this, before class and after class. Above this, before test and after test. Above this, before suit and after suit. So this is exact hierarchy. Yes. If you have a multiple suits are present, then we can use before suit and after suit. So most of the times we don't have such type of requirement. Most of the times we never see the such type of requirements because we will maintain the separate suits. Okay, multiple XML files we will maintain. So each XML is considered as one suit actually. So that's the reason very rare cases I've never seen to execute to before suit, after suit. That means execute before executing all the suits, after completion of all the suits. There is no such kind of a scenarios most of the times because we will consider individual suit. This is one suit for grouping. This is another suit for parallel execution. This is another suit for executing the test based on the priority and another suit for master, which contains everything. So we'll maintain separate suits. We don't combine all the suits into one suit most of the times. Okay. So this is all about annotations concept in the coming sessions. So you will understand more about this because as and when we required, we will try to use different type of annotations. So this is just we understood at very high level all kinds of annotations or hierarchy, all these things. And once start using these annotations, you will understand what exactly they are and how exactly they will work. Okay. Now let us move on to the next concept. Very, very important concept in TestNG called assertions. Assertions. So what is the meaning of assertion? Assertion means a validation point, or we can say validation. So whenever you want to do some validation in TestNG method, we have to use something called assertions. Okay, so before using assertions, we will try to understand why we need assertions. So normally how we have done validations earlier in the previous classes, we have done different type of validations, right? So how we have done those validations? Suppose I have a actual title and my expected title. How we have done validations? We have just compared them by using if condition. If so and so title equal to, or if expected title equal to actual title, then test is passed or is failed. We have put only condition statement. But when you put the conditional statements, there is a problem in that. Okay, we will see what is the problem and how we can overcome that by using assertions. So I will create a small test, just observe. I'll show you the problem with the conditional statement. I'll name it as a assertions. Assertions demo. Okay. So how we have done earlier assertions are totally different. So let me put like this. Let me create one simple test method, void title test or void test title. I just want to verify some title of the web page. Okay, I can create test method like this. So test title. So make sure in TestNG also we have to follow certain naming conventions. Whenever you create a test method, the method name should always start with the test keyword. So that is representing it is a test method. Okay. So when I say test title, what does that mean? This particular test method is going to test the title of the web page. So I'll keep this as a test annotation. And here I'm taking two variables. Let's say string, let's understand, let's say actual or expected title. Expected underscore title equal to, suppose I say open cart. This is my expected title. And let's say I have captured my actual title from application. Let's say actual underscore title equal to, let's say open shop. Okay, let's say I have two different titles. My expected title is open cart, but actual title which is captured from application is open shot or open cart, open shop. Okay. Now I want to verify these two titles are same or not. And accordingly, my test should pass or else my test should fail. Now, in the previously, how we have done by using if condition, let me do like this. If expected underscore title dot equals, because both are strings, I can compare actual title. Okay, then I can say system dot out dot println test passed, else system dot out dot println test failed. Okay, now this is a test method I have implemented. So let me just take both are same for now. I say both are same. Actual title, expert title, both are same. Now I'm comparing both the titles. If both are equal, my test will pass. Both are not matching, then my test is failed. This is my test. So now tell me, when I execute this test, will it pass or fail? When I execute this test method, will it pass or fail? Can you imagine? Will it pass or fail? Just basic understanding. So we have done this many times in the previously, right, before. So as per our expectation, it should pass because both the titles are correct, exactly the same. So if condition should match, so my test should fail, should pass. So let me execute this, run as a TestNG test. See, the message, whatever you have given here, test is got passed. So both are equal, titles are matching. So test is got passed. I got a message. And also I got something else here, passed. What does it mean? The test title is what? The name of the test method. So it is saying passed. So no problem, no objection. Everything is good. So whatever condition we validated, that is also perfectly executed. And my test method is also got passed. Perfectly fine. Now I'll just change this open shop. Okay, my titles are different. So now according to these values, what is our expectation? My test should be failed. My test should be failed because condition will never match. Just observe, when I run as a TestNG, Observe the output. See, test failed. That means if condition is also executed perfectly fine because both are not matching. So test is got failed. Now we can see this one. What about the test method? Test method should also fail, right? Test method should also fail, but it's not failed. It is still passing it. So what we need to understand based on this, only whenever the test method is got passed or failed, only that result will be populated in the report. Okay, if you look at this tree structure also, see, it is saying it is passed. It should not pass, right? It is saying here it is passed. Even if you see the TestNG report or any other report, it will show you only passed. What does that mean? TestNG will take the result of the test method. It will not consider what exactly you have done internally. Okay. So the test method status will be updated in the reports and results in everywhere. So internally, even though this conditional statement is got failed, our test method is still passed. This is the problem when I use conditional statements as part of validations. Okay. So how we can overcome this problem? For that, we use something called assertions. Okay. By using assertions, we can make the test method passed or failed based upon the condition. Even assertions also, we can validate the conditions. So now let me show you how we can solve this problem. I will comment this if condition, if else condition, then I'll put one assertion. Okay, how to put assertion in the TestNG is by using assertion class. There is a predefined class in TestNG. It's called assertion. And inside this, in assertion class, there are so many types of methods are there. Sorry. Assert is a class, not assertion. Assert is a predefined class. Inside this, there are so many methods are there. Let me write once again. Assert dot. You need to put assert dot. When I say dot, you will see all the methods. Just a second. Assert is a predefined class. Let's say I'm trying to write assert dot. You can see there are so many methods. You can see assert dot assert equals, assert dot assert not equals. There are so many assertion methods are there. So I'm taking one method called assert dot assert equals. And here I will pass two parameters. Boolean parameters it will take assert dot assert equals. And I'm passing this expected title as a first parameter. I'm passing actual title as the second parameter. Okay. So what this will do, assert equals method will compare both the values. After comparison, if both are equal, then this assertion will make my test method passed. Okay. If these are not equal, this will make my test method failed. Okay. So let me try to execute now. When I run as a TestNG test, see, currently both the titles are not equal. So what it is saying, it is got failed. Previously it was showing passed, but this time it is getting failed. Test title is got failed. Why it is failed? We are expecting this one, but actually found is this one. So both are mismatched. That's the reason it's got failed. So our assertion can make failure of our test method, but our conditional statement cannot make our test method failed. Okay. Suppose if you put both are same, open cut. Now assertion will definitely will pass. See, my test method is got passed. Even in the result also, it will show pass. Okay, suppose if we say different one, previously the results also, the tree structure also showing passed earlier. But when I change these two, definitely it will fail. After failing, if I go back and see here, see, it is got failed. The failure case it is showing along with the exception. So this is the usage of using assertions. Okay. So instead of using print statement, instead of using conditional statements, most of the times we try to use assertions. So only assertions can make our test methods passed or failed. Only that particular status will be logged into the reports. Okay, so we don't see these kind of outputs in the reports. We will see the only assertion outputs in the reports. Yes. If you have a multiple test methods in a single class, each test method is having different type of validations. You can put multiple assertions in multiple test methods. Okay. And one more important thing. If you still want to use assertions along with the conditional statements, you can still use it. Okay. For example, I just still want to use conditional statement. I still want to use conditional statement. But what you can do instead of putting print statements, you can use assertions. So exp, if both are equal, I'm saying test passed, right? In the same way, you can use one assertion here. Assert dot assert true, and here also pass it true. So this is another type of assertion. So what this assertion will do, here we are expecting true, and internally we are passing true. Both are true. So this will make my test method passed. And same thing, I will write it here. Assert true, I'm passing false. What this will do, this particular I'm expecting true here, but I'm passing false. Both are different. So this assertion will make my test method failed. So if you want to use assertions along with the conditional statement, you can still use it. This is the assertion. This is another type of assertion. Here, this assertion will compare two values. Okay, and this assert true, these assertions will take a Boolean value as a parameter. And this is also valid. Now just observe, both are totally different, but still, instead of passing my test, it will fail it. That's our expected. Now you can see test title is failed. But earlier, when I use only if condition, my test is still passed. But when I use conditions along with assertion, it will also make my test method failed. Okay. So you can use either directly one assertion, one single statement is enough. Most of the time we go with this. Otherwise, if you still want to print some messages in the console window and so on, then you can go with this one. Conditional statement along with assertion. But ultimately, we should use only assertions. Assertions only can make our test method pass or fail properly. Only that particular status will be populated in the reports. So conditional statements output will only display in the console window. This will not project in the report, but only the assertion results will be populated in the report. Okay, so everybody's understood. When I use conditional statement, what is the problem? How we can overcome that problem using assertions. So I will discuss number of types of assertions. Different type of assertions are there. I will discuss in the next example. So assert is a predefined class which contains different assertion methods. Various type of assertion methods, we can do different type of validations. Yes. So conditions will create a conflict at the report level. It's true. Yes. Okay. Now let us discuss what are the different type of annotations are there. In TestNG, there are all annotations. There are hundreds of 50s or hundreds of annotations are there. All of them is categorized into two main categories. Okay, two kinds of assertions. Two kinds of assertions are there. First type of assertion, just now whatever we have seen, they're all comes under hard assertions. And another type of assertions are called soft assertions. Hard assertions, soft assertions. So we will try to understand hard assertions first, and then later I will show you soft assertions. So most of the times we use only hard assertions. I'll show you why. So whatever assertions we are accessing through assert class, all of them are comes under hard assertions. Okay, let me create new class, hard assertions. And whatever methods are there in hard assertions, same methods are there in soft assertions also, but a slight difference is there. I'll tell you what is the difference. So let me create one class, hard assertions demo. And here I'll try to use a few types of annotations, few types of assertions. And based on that, we'll try to understand. So I'm just creating one test method. And all these annotations we put only in the test methods. We should not put in any another annotated methods. Okay, so now let me show you some assertions, some sample assertions. All assertions are accessible from assert class. So my first assertion, I say assert dot assert equals. So what this assertion will do is it will take this assertion will compare two values. It will compare two values. If both are equal, my test will pass. If both are not equal, my test will fail. Yeah, assert is from TestNG. You can see here. So org.testng, from TestNG, we have to import this assert class. And make sure the same class is there in JUnit also. At the time of importing, you have to carefully import this. Same annotations are there in JUnit also. So if you put the cursor here, it will show you all different packages. You can see org, TestNG, and log4j, different things it will show you. So you need to carefully import from org.testng only. Okay, now assert equals. This method will compare any two values. If both are same, my test will fail, test pass. If both are not same, my test will fail. And what type of values it will take? All kinds of value. We can compare two strings, we can compare two numbers, we can compare two Boolean values, anything. So let me put two strings here. For example, let's say XYZ, and second value also I'm taking XYZ. So both are equal. So what this method will do, it will compare these two. And if both are equal, my test will fail. If both are not equal, my test should fail. So when I execute it, both are equal. So my test is got passed. Suppose here XYZ 1 I put. So definitely my test should fail. So my test should fail here. You can see my test is got failed. So assert equals will compare the strings. And also assert equals, we can compare the numbers also. If it is a string, we put in the double quotations. Suppose if you want to compare the numbers, let's say here I'll put 1, 2, 3. Here I'll put 3, 4, 5. So both are numbers. Still it will compare. If both are not equal, my test method will fail. See now? So expected is 345 and found is 123. So it is got failed. So comparison, we can also compare the numbers. Okay. And suppose if I put like this, now you tell me assert equals, here I'll say ABC. Here I'll say 1, 2, 3. One is string, one is number. Will it compare? One is string, another one is number. So let's execute and see. It is still false. So it is a number, it is a string. Both are not equal anyway, it is compared. Okay. So for example, let's say I'll write like this. Suppose I say 1, 2, 3 in the string format, 1, 2, 3 in the numeric format. Now tell me whether it will compare or not, true or false. Here 1, 2, 3 is the string format. Here 1, 2, 3 is a number format. So it is still failed. Why it is failed? Because it is a string, right? It is a number. There is a difference. So two strings we can compare, two numbers we can compare, but one string, one number also you can compare, but result will be false. Okay. If both are numbers, there is no problem like this. But here 1, 2, 3 is a string that we cannot compare with the number. So this is assert equals. And the opposite method is also there. Assert not equals. Suppose here I'll say assert not equals. Not equals, negation kind. So any data types can be compared, which is yes, all data types are accepted in assert equals. Similarly, we have assert not equals, opposite. Now you guys can tell me the output. Here I'll say 1, 2, 3. Here also I'll say 1, 2, 3. Now tell me what is an output of this? True or passed or failed? Or true or false? Assert dot not equals. I'm expecting what? Not equals I'm expecting. But here both are equal, right? But I'm expecting not equals, but it is both are equals. Then obviously it will return false. It will fail. Fine. So execute.
So definitely it is failed. We are expecting not equals, but both are equal. That's the reason it is getting failed. Okay, now see this. We are expecting not equals, and here 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4, 5. Now this time it will pass. Why? Because we are expecting they should not be equal. Also, they are not equal. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4 were not equal. So we are expecting not equals, and the values also not equals. So ultimately, our test will pass because expectation and actual both are same. So my test should pass. Why it is not? Okay, I should comment this. The first one is got executed. So my test is got passed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 were not equal. I'm also expecting not equal. So both are passed. Asset dot equals asset dot not equals. Similarly, we also have some more methods. Asset dot asset true. So this method will take a Boolean expression as a parameter. Asset to true. We are expecting true here, but here I'm passing also true. Then what is the output of this? Failure passed. Definitely it will pass. Why? Because we are expecting true. I'm also passing true. So definitely that will pass. Okay. And suppose asset dot asset true, but here I'm passing false. False I'm passing. Definitely it will fail because I'm expecting true here, but internally I'm passing false, a Boolean expression we are passing. So definitely it will fail. So based on that, suppose you can tell me, I can say asset dot asset true, sorry, asset dot asset true of 1 double equal to 2. Tell me passed or failed. Instead of Boolean value, I can put the expression, right? Because this expression will also return the Boolean value. This expression is also return the Boolean value. I'm using relational operator. Relational operator is always returning the Boolean value. So here I'm expecting true, but 1 equal to 2 is true or false? False. So true or false is conflict. So definitely it will fail. Okay, same thing if you write like this. Asset dot asset true, I say 1 equal to 1. So I'm expecting true here, and the value is also true. 1 equal to 1 is equal to true will return. So this will definitely pass. So this is asset dot asset true. Asset dot asset true. Similarly, the opposite asset dot asset false is also there. You can say asset dot asset false. And here I'm passing 1 equal to 2. Now tell me what is an output of this? Asset dot asset equals asset dot asset false. So I'm expecting what? False I'm expecting. And 1 equal to 2 is what? False only. False and false, both are true. So ultimately this will pass. And similarly, let us take this one. Asset dot asset false. And here I say 1 equal to 1. So here I am expecting false, but 1 equal to 1 is a true. Both are different. So it should fail. It should fail. Okay. So these are all few types of annotations. And to fail this, we can also have one more annotation called suppose without putting any expression or without putting any condition, I just want to fail my test method. Intentionally, I want to fail my test method. But for that, I don't have any condition or any matching or anything. I just blindly want to fail my test method. Simply what you can do is we have one more method called asset dot fail. So this method will directly fail my test method without having any verification or validation or condition. Anything is not needed. You can simply just fail my test method. See, it is just failed. So these are all few annotations which we have, and we can use them in our automation. And only through automations, only through assertions, we can do validations. Okay. So now these are all comes under hard assertions. These are all comes under hard assertions. Hard assertions are the methods which we can directly access from the assert class. So these are all static methods. That's the reason we're able to access from the assert class directly. Static methods we can directly access through classes, right? No object, nothing is required. So these are all hard assertions. But there is a problem in the hard assertions. So let me tell you what is a limitation which we have in the hard assertions. So that's the reason sometimes we prefer to use soft assertions. And I will tell you when to use hard assertions, when to use soft assertions. So before that, let us try to understand the what is the problem with the hard assertions and how to use soft assertions. So let me create another class. And this is most important concept during interviews. They will definitely ask what is the difference between hard assertions, soft assertions, and when to use hard assertions, when to use soft assertions. We need to understand hard versus soft assertions. Okay. Now, to demonstrate the problem with the hard assertions, I will create a small method here, void. I'll name it as hard assertions. Okay, I can say test underscore hard assertions. This is one test method. Okay. So we will try to understand what is the problem with the hard assertions. So here I'm typing some message. Let's say this is testing. Some statement I have printed. And other than this, I'll put some more statements, so two statements. After that, I put one assertion here. Assert dot assert equals. You can put any type of assertion. I can say 1, 2. Fine. After putting this assertion, I also have few more statements. Here, I'll put some more statements. So here I'll say again, testing. After the assertion, I will put some more statements like this. Okay, now when I run this code, first two statements will execute. And if assertion is got passed, so rest of the statements will execute perfectly fine. But if the assertion is got failed, then rest of the statements will not be executed. So if the assertion is got failed, rest of the statements will not be executed. That is a problem with the hard assertion. So let us try to execute. Let me take a positive number, 1, 1. So we are expecting equals 1 and 1 is also same. So we are expecting the test should pass and all four statements should be printed in the console window. If I look at here, all four statements got executed, print statements are executed, first two, next two. And my assertion is also got passed. This is perfectly fine. Now, suppose when I make my assertion failed, then only first two statements will execute. As soon as this is got failed, rest of the statements will not be executed. When I execute this, observe. Yes. See, only first two statements are executed. When hard assertion is got failed, rest of the statements are not executed. This is the problem with the hard assertion. So normally, whenever you create some test method, the last statement should be an assertion. After putting an assertion, you don't want to write anything. Most of the times we don't write anything because in the test case, what is the last step of the test case? Most of the times is a validation, right? So after completing all the steps, in the last step, we do some validation. Same thing we put in the TestNG method. So most of the times, 99% of the times, in the test method, the last statement should be assertion. So even though assertion is got failed, that will not impact anything else. That will work as usual. Okay, so no problem in that. But in case, suppose I have few statements I want to still execute after the assertion also, even the assertion is got failed, I just want to execute few more statements, then you need to go with the soft assertions. Hard assertions cannot use. But that is very rare case, only 1% scenario. But 99% of the times, we use only hard assertions. Why? Because hard assertion is a last step, last statement in the test method. So even if it is got failed, it will exit. That will not impact anything. Okay. So this is the problem with the hard assertion. So after hard assertion is got failed, if you have any other statements to be executed, so those statements will not be executed. So this will automatically exit from the execution. This is hard assertion. Okay. Now, how we can overcome this problem with the soft assertion? So first of all, let us understand what is a soft assertion. Let's create another method. I will try to do the same thing with the soft assertion. Void test underscore soft assertion. Okay, now just observe very carefully. I just copy the same code. Okay, first one I commenting. I will not run this code. Now come to the soft assertion. In the soft assertion, we don't access this method directly from the assert class. So method names are exactly the same. So whatever methods earlier we discussed in the hard assertion, assert equals, assert dot not equals, assert true, assert false, same methods are there in soft assertion. But only difference is these methods we have to access from an object. We have a soft assert class. Okay, we have a predefined class. Just like assert class, we also have a soft assert class. So for the soft assert class, we have to create an object. Let's say SA equal to new soft assert. Okay. Now we need to import this soft assert class from org TestNG.assets. Now, instead of using this asset, you have to use this object. This is called soft assertion. Same methods, nothing is different. Only one difference is hard assertion methods we can directly access from assert class. Whereas soft assertion methods we can access from the object of soft assert class. That's the only difference. And whatever methods are there in the assert class, same methods are there in the soft assert also. The only difference is hard assertion method we can access from the assert class, and soft assertion methods we can access from the object from soft assert class. Okay, now this is my soft assertion. Okay, now I put some more statements. Just observe how it's going to execute. I'll put test annotation for this. And previous one I already commented, so this will not be executed. So soft assert is not a static class. Okay, this is a class, and these are all not a static methods. So whatever methods are there in the soft assert class, they are not static methods. So that is the reason we have to access only through object. Okay. But in the assert class, methods are static methods. So that's the reason we're able to directly access from the assert class. But in the soft assert class, methods are not static. So we have to create an object. Right. Now let us execute this soft assertion. We will see whether after these statements, our soft assertion will fail. Even though it is got failed, rest of the statements are executing or not. We will see that. So run as TestNG test. Okay, now we can see that. See, you notice a different behavior. I put 1, 2. My soft assertion should fail. But what happens? It is got passed. And moreover, it is also executed all the statements. Okay, executing all the statements that we are expected. Because we use soft assertion, because of soft assertion fail, still it will execute the rest of the statement. So that's the reason we prefer to use soft assertion. So this expectation is fine. All statements have got executed. But what about this one? This is the main important thing, right? But soft assertion should fail. But what happened here? It is passed. So what is the problem in this is whenever you use a soft assertion at the end of this method, you have to write one more method. Additional method is required. That is SCA dot assert all. This method is mandatory. Okay. So you can use soft assertion. That's fine. But end of this method, you have to use assert all method additionally. Otherwise, this will always show passed. Soft assertions will always pass by default. Okay, so if you put this assert all, then only this will do the right validation. That is a rule. Okay, So now when I execute this, observe this very carefully. See, this time all 4 statements got executed. Also, my assertion is got failed. So even though my assertion is got failed, still rest of the statements are got executed. Perfectly fine. If you see the tree output also, it is showing failed. So that is a usage of soft assertion. So you can put any number of assertions, but at the end of the test method, you put only one method called sa.assertAll. Okay. So this assertAll is especially for soft assertions. In hard assertions, we don't need this. In hard assertions, we don't have such type of methods. Because if hard assertion is got failed, it will exit. Rest of the statements will not be executed. But what is our requirement? If the assertion is got failed, still I want to execute the rest of the steps. But what is the side effect of this is my test is passing. Even though I put invalid expression, my test is passing. It is executing all the steps, but other impact is what my test is passing. That should not pass. That is the reason. Additionally, we should use assertAll method. So you can use n number of soft assertions, but at end of the test, we should use assertAll method. We have to call this, and then only you will get exact output. So can we create a soft assert method at the class level? Yes, you can create. Okay, but the problem is the objects you cannot create, right? Objects you can create only in the main method or in the test methods. So inside the class here, you cannot create soft asset SA equal to new soft asset. You cannot do like that. But the variable you can create. You can say soft asset SCA. You can put variable like this. And this variable you can initiate in one of the methods. Here you can initiate. But the object we cannot directly create in the class. That is the problem. The variable you can create, but the object you can create. Because here we don't have a main method. Objects can be created only in the main method. But here we don't have a main method. Alternative is a test method. So only in the test method, we can create an objects. So this is the difference between hard assertion and soft assertion. Everybody is clear? If anybody asks you during interview, you should explain very, very clearly. What is hard assertion? What is soft assertion? What is the problem with the hard assertion? And what is the advantage of soft assertion? So very, very important concept. But most of the times we manage with hard assertions. So we no need to go with the soft assertions. But if you still want to execute some more statements after the soft assertion, you can go with the soft assertion. So can we create soft assert method at the class level? I said no, right? We cannot do. We can create a variable. Soft assert is a class. It is again basic Java fundamental. Soft assert is a class. That means we can create an object. So where we can create an object of the class, either in the main method we can create, but here in the TestNG we do not have a main method. So alternatively, we can create inside the method. Only in the test method, we can create object of the soft asset. And by using that object, we can access all the methods from the soft asset. But if you want to use the soft asset variable commonly for all test methods, then you can create soft asset variable like this, and that you can initiate in multiple methods. That is the context. Soft asset method at the class. What is soft asset method? You cannot create any soft asset methods because already methods are available in the soft asset class. You can access and you can use it. That's it. We don't want to create any new methods in the soft asset class. Not in a method level or class level, whatever it is. We are not going to create any new methods in the soft asset. This is a predefined class, and these are predefined methods. So we just want to access them and use it in our automation. That's it. Yes, object you can just create only within the test method, but the variable you can create at the class level. Suppose if you want to use this soft asset variable in multiple test methods, then you should be able to create this at the method level, class level variable, and this you can initiate instance you can create in one of the test method and you can use it. In all the test methods, you can use it. So that is a process. Yeah, the variable you can just create, but you cannot say soft asset SA equal to new soft asset. that you cannot do that. Yeah, this is a basic Java concept. Yes. All right. So this is all about soft assertions and hard assertions. Let me write some piece of notes here so that you can understand. So hard assertions, we can access from assert class and all methods are static. So if hard assertion failed, then rest of the statements will not be executed. And hard soft assertions, we can access through soft assert object. Like this, we need to create an object and then we can access soft assertions. And if soft assertion got failed, then rest of the statements still execute. So these are the differences between hard assertions and soft assertions. So just try one round of execution and see one round of practice you can do and get familiar with these options. Okay, so next class, we will discuss some more features from TestNG. All right, so I'll stop here for today's session. Tomorrow, we'll continue.